9-game main slate. James, 12:35 in the afternoon is the time this one kicks off here on Wednesday over on DraftKings. 9 games, a pretty solid slate in terms of pitching matchups for us to both use and attack from the hitter side. So for a 9-game slate, we're gonna get some early action. And what we like about these afternoon slates is you'll know whether or not you're winning money before dinner. There's nothing wrong with that, right, James?
Nothing wrong with that. The West Coast is going to wake up and have coffee with some baseball,
Baseball and eggs,
some hot coffee, John, because the poll on my Twitter today was pretty much a landslide again. Hot coffee
60,
over iced coffee.
It wasn't a landslide. Though it was actually, I think, larger than the last time we ran this poll.
It was, which is surprising again. But yeah, nice 9-game afternoon slate. 2 games at 12:35. Spanning to 4:07, we have the late night hammer, the late afternoon hammer.
Right.
Let's head over
Afternoon Delight, I think they call that.
Afternoon Delight, yeah, that's a good one. Little song, there's a jingle behind that too. Let's head over to Vegas. Yankees, big favorites again, -2.
I mean, they've been putting up nothing but runs against this A's team. So
yes, they have been putting up a lot of runs in Yankee Stadium. It's been good to see as a Yankees fan. Because it's been a dreadful start to this year, or at least since all the injuries started piling up. But -225 favorite against Kyle Muller, Johnny Brito on the mound for the Yankees. -160 is Clayton Kershaw on the road. What do we say all the time? Milwaukee cannot hit lefty, so look out for that. Luis Castillo -190. Do we have Luis Castillo on this main slate? We do. Luis Castillo -190 over Texas. Those are like the notable spreads.
What do we have for Detroit? Curious.
Detroit. Peyton Battenfield and the Guardians are -130.
Because Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound against Cleveland. He's been really good in Cleveland. We've talked about their offense has been abysmal. So
they have been. Yeah, they have been. Over-unders. Nothing. 9.5 in Houston, LA as the afternoon delight, as you mentioned. 9 in Washington, San Fran. 9 in Arizona, Miami, and 9 in Yankees. 9.5 actually Yankees.
Like you mentioned, the two cheapest pitchers on this slate are in that game: Brito and Mueller. Sean Manaea, we joked about him on the live stream on Tuesday evening. Well, he is on this slate at home against Washington at $5,900. There's some other cheap, not notable names, so just sort of like cheap guys that are down below. Moving into the top tier pitching here, we have Gausman and Wheeler, top 2 price guys going at one another here. That's fine. All good and dandy. Sure, why not? But like you mentioned, Clayton Kershaw here against the Milwaukee Brewers. We've talked ad nauseum, it feels like, about teams that just cannot hit left-handed, right-handed pitching. We're pretty big split-heavy analysts, I'll say, James, right? You and I talk a lot of splits.
Sure.
And it's for a good reason. A lot of times splits pan out. You can kind of tell where the struggles have been. Milwaukee isn't touching any. We talked about it. Manaea had that matchup against Milwaukee, and as bad as he has been this year, actually had like a serviceable outing against them. So yeah, now here you have Clayton Kershaw, coming off of a little bit of a tough start against San Diego, but yeah, San Diego. Before that, he allowed 1 total run over 20 innings with 24 strikeouts. So we're almost like, I'm not going to say vintage Kershaw here, but I mean like some really strong performances out of him. Gonna be, I have to assume, the highest rostered pitcher on this slate, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, we've seen Seattle pitching pretty popular this whole series with Texas. I don't think that's going to change with Luis Castillo on the mound either. So probably those 2 guys. Christian Javier is probably not going to garner much ownership at 9,800, despite coming off a couple good starts in a row. I could see Erod being very
Erod's
popular.
Interesting to me.
Erod's been amazing.
Yeah.
This is like
Red
better than Boston.
Like, honestly,
probably better.
He had definitely, yes. He's never been this. He's had He's
Yeah.
had good spots, straight
Right.
streaks before with Boston, but never this. Never 8 shutout, 9 strikeouts, 8 shutout, 10 strikeouts, 7 shutouts. Like not consistently like this. Again, we're
Right.
scrolling down since his first 2 starts of the year at Tampa, at Houston. Tough spots to be in, right? He's since rattled off 5 starts in a row, 2 total earned runs allowed over those 5 starts here. Just absolutely dominating performances. That's why I asked you, I was like, well, what's Detroit here against Cleveland? Because, Detroit against Cleveland, Cleveland's been a pretty bad team here.
Yep.
They're hitting just 220 against left-handed pitching, a 282 WOBA, a 120 ISO against left-handed pitching. The only thing that I guess they have their advantage is just a 21% strikeout rate, 22nd, but they're not touching lefties. Other than that, bottom 5 in average, the bottom 5, where is their ISO? Bottom 3 in ISO. Whoa, they're third worst in WOBA. I mean, the only team really worse than them against left-handed pitching is Milwaukee. So, like, doesn't that almost set
Right.
you up to where you're like, well, maybe I'll throw like Erod and Kershaw in a lineup and like let it ride here,
Go to Erod's numbers again, John, and look at his start
Yeah,
on
he faced
418.
them already. 8 shot, 10
Look at
strikeouts. 10
10
strikeouts.
strikeouts.
So,
So,
I mean, dude, he has a 38 and a 39 fantasy point start.
yeah.
Like,
No, no, he's as good of a play as anyone else. I would say if you're not going to go to Erod, I'm perfectly fine getting to the guy right below him too, Merrill Kelly,
yeah, we played
8,300
him the other
against
day
the Marlins.
too at a ridiculous price,
Amazing.
$6,800 for
Amazing.
no reason.
Amazing. He was in the winning lineup
He
for
had to be. We
100K
played
as
him.
well.
We had him, and we were like,
Yep.
why would you play anybody but Marichelli at $6,800? Um, Again, a weird price drop there too. Faces in Colorado, 6 inning, 1 earned at $7,300, and then home against Washington is next up. They dump him.
No.
I don't know, but yeah, 80 now a monster boost to 83. I agree. We talked about Miami struggles against righties here. What are we doing like Rich Hill and Wade Miley here? I mean, we talk about the underlying stats for Wade Miley like eventually coming to roost here, but I don't know. At home against the Dodgers, we talk about the Dodgers struggles generally against lefties this year, and then Pittsburgh and Rich Hill has had some decent outings at times. We know that Colorado struggles just to hit seemingly. So, I mean, are any interest in these 7K pitchers?
So I'm a little less. Colorado's coming alive a little bit. Jerkson Profar 2 home runs on Tuesday. They scored a whole bunch of runs. Brando Grishik's been amazing for them since coming back as well. Rich Hill's 7,300. I'll pass on that. 8 home runs in 7 starts. The Miley thing, yeah, I mean, he's been fine. I just don't get there because the strikeouts. Like maybe the Dodgers are struggling against left-handed pitching. They kind of broke out of that on Tuesday. They scored a bunch. They chased Eric Lauer out early. And that might just be due to them getting people back. They're better,
Mhm.
right? Like Will Smith back in the lineup. Mookie Betts homered against a lefty. Like all things kind of Miguel Vargas homered against a lefty. So I'm probably actually out on both those
True.
guys. Only real interest for me down here is probably Peyton Battenfield, who has been up and down, but he's had 3 really good starts this year, including that start against Minnesota where he was like perfect through 6 innings his last time out. Um, he's already been really good against Detroit. I'm just obviously worried about the win equity, but I can get behind a little Battenfield. That's probably the only place I'd really be interested in. I guess like you could maybe talk me into Dane Dunning, maybe just maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we highlighted him a little bit, and then we were, you know, there were some things that obviously scare you away. There's still no strikeouts here, but he did shut out the
Yep.
Angels over 5. So 9 ground balls in back-to-back outings for him as well. I mean, that's a number we like to see. So Seattle's struggling. So if they can
Yep.
score, or string hits together, and Dane Dunning's out here just being a divot master with his pitching. So I mean, 3 of his last 4 outings, right? 8 ground balls, 9 ground balls, 9
Yeah.
ground balls. Though Cincinnati when he was a reliever there or whatever, not piggybacking too long. So
Yep.
I agree. I think Dane Dunning's is in an interesting spot here. Anybody else for you?
Anyone else for me?
Okay.
No.
Catcher position. We know obviously there are some good split matchups here. Will Smith gets the lefty Wade Miley. If you look at his FanGraph numbers, there's a lot of underlying stats that would suggest due for some regression here. Elias Diaz at 4K against Rich Hill, hitting everybody regardless of splits there. So it could be a spot for him in that mid-tier range. Kind of the first 2 that kind of hit my eyes.
Those are the first 2 that also hit my eyes, and that's kind of why I'm not in on Rich Hill. I do think Colorado is kind of interesting here against the lefties. I know Elias hasn't been as good away from home. Did have 2 hits and 2 RBIs the other day in Citi Field. So Will Smith perfectly fine, Elias Diaz perfectly fine. I like both guys.
Moving down a little bit more to this Kybert against lefty and Mania. I think there's a spot obviously for him in lineups here. What's batting field? Is he a righty or lefty? Righty.
He's a righty.
So it takes out my boy Haas.
Yeah, he's been bad too.
Well, he was hitting lefties a little bit. Had a little run in him.
That's true. That's true.
It's probably it.
Him.
It's probably it for me.
Righties hit Edward Cabrera really hard. I would play Gabriel Moreno. I know Moreno's been better against lefties, but 288, 880 OPS allowed, 389 WOBA allowed to right-handed bats for Edward Cabrera.
First base, a lot of top end guys here. Ohtani, Vladdy, Freeman. Rizzo's got a lefty. Walker's got a righty. So not always like the most obvious standpoints for these top end plays for us. Do we try CJ Cron against a lefty again? Like what are we looking at for first base here today?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine getting to a couple of lefty splits here, truthfully. Freeman, I don't mind. You've mentioned a lot this year about Wade Miley's regression, and it's coming.
At some point. It has to happen.
And I think the Dodgers are, just from what we've seen, I mean, 1 game sample, I know, but they're just too good to not be good.
Wade Miley with a 2.3 ERA, but a 5.01 FIP, a 4.01 expected ERA. He's got 5K per 9. I mean, he's got an 83% left on base percentage. He's been lucky. Good 40% ground ball rate, only a 4% home run to fly ball. So, but there's just a lot of numbers that suggest at some point he's going to go down.
Righties, definitely put me on CJ Cron down here at 43. Righties against Rich Hill, 297 average, 930 OPS, 394 average. Cron actually hitting lefties again this year, 331 WOBA against them. So I'd get to CJ Cron. I like Rizzo in the lefty split, as I mentioned. Kyle Muller is not very good. John Lefty's hitting 360 against him, 930 OPS, 402 WOBA. Lefties. Anthony Rizzo against lefties, John. 367 average, 432 WOBA. Second most at bats on the Yankees this year.
Yeah, I like him at home. So
second straight game with 2 hits too. He has
1,000 OPS, 627 slug, 5 of his 6 homers at home this year for Rizzo.
Yep, and that's what we talked about last year. Like he fits Yankee Stadium perfectly. That's why they re-signed him. All that. I like Rizzo.
Yep, 100%. Let's see here. Anybody?
LeMahieu should be back in the lineup, 4,100. You could play him at third if you wanted. Thankfully, because the Yankees don't have another active third baseman on DraftKings.
They don't. That's it.
No, I mean, it's just LeMahieu.
Pavin Smith's 32. Lamonte Wade 35.
I'd probably go back to Ryan Noda 2,800. I know he let us down against Clark Schmidt, and righties are actually giving Johnny Brito an issue. So maybe if Aguilar's in the lineup, maybe we go to Aguilar. But one of those Oakland catchers, dude, middle of the day in Yankee Stadium, ball could be flying.
I agree with you. Second base position here. Simeon's your top guy. Mookie Betts back to second base for the slate. Okay, sure, why not? Ketel Marte, Thairo Estrada, Gleiber against the lefty. You highlighted the other day. He homered. Yeah, Mueller. Yankees have been chalky.
He homered again. He homered again
Yankees
on
have
Tuesday.
been,
He's homered
Yankees
now.
have been chalky. They're expensive, but they've been chalky. It feels like we're looking at another Yankee chalk slate here.
Yeah, they're paying it off too. I mean, this is the second straight night where they've just hit a boatload of home runs. So I think it's probably Glaber at the top. I actually think Mookie Betts is in play if you want to use him at second base. Homered again, yep. So I think both those guys really fit the bill. And then it's like
I like Dubon, even though he's at the 4K. Jaquan
Bay,
solo base potential there.
I just hate that he's struggling and hitting ninth. Like I wish they would hit him higher in the lineup.
Let's see.
I think the next name is Miguel Vargas. We talked about it going into the slate, John, on Tuesday's slate, that like the extra base hits have been on display, and then he homers again, and like that's just been like just full-fledged everything he's doing. So
that's fine. I'm good with that. Let's see here. Probably it.
Yep, I wouldn't go lower than Vargas. I don't think it's needed. Yeah, I mean shout out Justin Verlander if Chris Owings is in the lineup down here, you know.
Third base, Jose Ramirez, your top price guy, but again, not likely to use many guys against Erod here. Chapman cooling off. Muncy gets the lefty. Rojas should never be this high. McMahon gets a lefty. I mean, who's our first third baseman here?
I mean, Chapman has the home run potential. I'm okay going Dodgers with Muncy. First third baseman,
Chris Taylor? 3K?
Probably. I mean, LeMahieu is probably
honestly,
the best
you're
option.
probably right. That's probably the LeMahieu placement because this position sucks.
Because the position
sucks, again, Chris Taylor's 3K against a lefty certainly could be a spot for him there.
Bregman, let me look at the splits for Griffin Canning this year, because Bregman we know has been better against the righty split over the last couple of years. Griffin Canning 331 WOBA against righties is not great, so maybe something there. Bregman as well if you want to play Astros. Like that totals the second highest on the board.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't have anything.
Shortstop, it is. Bo Bichette, Trey Turner, your top two guys. Thairo Estrada gets shortstop eligibility against Josiah Gray. Those guys are all up over $5,500. Maybe Pena is our first go, or Volpe at 45. Yep.
I mean, if they're going to keep leading Volpe off, he was 0 for 4 until he had an eighth inning triple and a run scored to like save the Volpe users, aka you and I.
It's probably because of the Volpe card, you know.
It's probably because that is a sick Volpe card.
The camera's getting all fuzzed out. Let's see how close we can get it.
Well, look, the camera's making it It's a holographic Volpe card now. Yeah, I'd get to Volpe if he's leading off. Good spot for him. But like, I mean, there's not a lot to like. Chris Taylor, as you mentioned, you can punt Ezekiel Duran. I've mentioned Tovar to you a couple times recently. He's really coming into his own. That's probably where I go.
$2,500, good punt play.
Dude, I mean, look at the extra base hits. 7 extra base hits in his last 10 games. Over that span, 333 average, 1,000 OPS. Righties have killed Rich Hill. Like, that's been where Rich Hill struggled. So I think Tovar is probably, on like a per dollar basis, my favorite shortstop player.
I like it. Not going to sit here and fight with you too much on it because there's really there is not much else. For 9 games, listen, we hit this sometimes, right? You and I can talk an hour about the right 6-game slate, and then we have a 9-10 game slate where we're like, most of this kind of sucks, but we're here. Let's go. Outfielders. Top guys we know are here. Judge, probably chalk.
Yep.
Jordan versus Canning looks pretty good. Corbin Carroll gets a righty at 58. Also pretty solid play. Tucker's there at 54. Chris Bryant against Hill at 52. Is he homered the other way?
Yeah, dude. Look. Never have we sat up here this year and said, you know what, the Rockies look pretty good, and it's been away from Coors. But I'm telling you, they pull up their last 14 days for me. Let's see what we got for the Rockies.
I know they
Because
scored a lot of runs today.
Profar hit 2 home runs. They had 10 runs. Grishik another RBI. Blackman
It's
2
still like
hits.
average numbers against
Average. Okay.
So, and that's again. Well, I'm looking last against left-handed pitching. 318 Woba's 18th. 170 ISO is 16th. Slugging, they're 18th. So again, this is the last 2 weeks versus lefties. So.
All right, so middle of the
Just
pack. I don't know.
overall,
The
though, you're
Rockies,
probably right because they've been hitting a little bit better overall, way better. 330, excuse me, 334 Woba has them 11th. Only a 20% strikeout rate is pretty strong. 271 batting average is 6th overall. This is like no splits, just how they're hitting right now. So
how they're hitting, right?
Last 2 weeks they're definitely better. Last 2 weeks against lefties and middling. So. But Brian's been homering and doing some good things. All right, who is your like core of that 5K above group? Like you're plugging in, no salary.
Judge, Betts, Bryant.
Okay,
probably the 3. Judge, Betts,
next
Bryant.
tier below. Let's see here. Cassiano's homer today. Dunning is the ground balls probably make it difficult to get to Kelenic here.
Yep. And he's struggling too.
Lourdes, I guess, at 44. If he's in the line, lineup, you said, right? So
yeah, righties against Edward Cabrera. That's what's been the good split for opposing
Rooker
batters.
Against Brito at 41. Finally can talk about an A, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Righties against Brito has been the dominant split, and Rooker's hitting everybody.
Bader gets the lefty and Mueller. You're a big Bader guy there.
Dude, did you see again? He had 3 hits again. He had 3 hits, like hitting 5th. He's gonna hit 5th again? At worst, he's gonna hit 5th.
Gotta make that Jordan Montgomery trade worth it. So
3 for 4 RBI and a run scored. Again,
and then
now hitting
Jack Sawinski. The power on this guy is wild, but he also has 5 stolen bases on the year too. So like
he does have 5 stolen bases. He has been quite bad.
Sure,
lately.
Still 2 home runs. Here's the thing: quite bad. Sure, he's never going to hit for high average though. So like,
no,
he is your classic home run out type play. Senzatella is not striking anybody out though. So
no. Pittsburgh could be interesting on the flip side of this game as well.
I think so as well. Riley Green, 375, 930 OPS the last 10 games for him. 2 homers, or homer and 2 stolen bases the last 10 games.
Coming around
a little bit on some Detroit here, maybe.
Slowing down on the strikeouts a little bit for Riley Green too. The strikeouts earlier in
the story at 3,400. I mean, if he gets on base, stolen bases upside. Profar's 35. Grich at 34. A lot of Colorado.
Dude, I'm telling you, Colorado is
Colorado.
I am. Look, it is. We know what Colorado. They're in play. They're in play.
Let's see here.
Stone Garrett corrects the lineup.
I mean, right. Washington. I mean, we didn't even talk about Candelario, right? But like, Washington, Stone Garrett, Lane Thomas, Kyber Ruiz, lefties. They can all hit $2,800 for Lane Thomas here. I mean, dude, 344, 1070, 3 homers.
I know he's been nuts.
He's $2,800. He's gonna hit. He's gonna hit in the middle of their lineup. He doesn't lead off anymore. Alex Call or Stone Garrett, something like that, will probably lead off. But
yeah, Alex Call. Lane's been hitting like 3rd or 5th, somewhere in there.
He's been good.
Back to Blade.
Yeah,
Maybe
probably look at
$2,600.
Blade here.
He was he had a rooker on first, or his double would have scored any other human being.
Yeah, Call's been pretty awful. I wonder if they continue to lead him off. Let's see.
Here's your sneaky
Oswaldo?
Yankee part of the stack. Yep. And I said it the other day. He is better against lefties. He's going to hit from the right side here. He was like 5% owned on that home run. He's going to be hitting 6th or 7th in this game against a lefty who's not getting anyone out. That's your sneaky Yankee part of
this year. He's just been awful altogether. But
he has
almost a 400 slug against lefties. Last year, definitely better against lefties. Still almost a 400 slug, 286 average. So,
yeah, he's just been like it's almost undoubtedly just the better side of his split.
Yep. All right, let's go build our lineup here, James. Plugging in Kershaw is our SB2 Erod, Merrill Kelly, Erod and Merrill Kelly.
Probably has. Maybe we fade Kershaw and we play Erod Merrill Kelly.
No,
or would you just? Are you just
cannot fade
okay?
Kershaw here.
Okay. We probably need the savings, so go Merrill Kelly. If we can get to Erod,
I mean, let's put this way: Profar, 35,
Grishik,
34, Tovar, 25
yeah, for sure.
Okay,
yeah, that's true.
Now where Kybert, I guess. Or do we just continue with Diaz? 4K? 4 in Colorado stack here?
Yeah.
Stack cores out of cores? What could go wrong?
Stack cores out of course.
Rizzo?
LeMahieu at third.
Do we get Judge? We got 2,700 second baseman. Do they exist? Miguel Vargas.
Yeah, Miguel Vargas.
There it is.
We're playing
4 Rockies in Pittsburgh. What could go?
I will say, just to go back to catcher, if you wanted to play,
do you want Judge or Bader at this point? Honest question. Bader's 38.
It is a good
we could get bingo.
All right, bang. Full four
pack right there.
I'm playing
That's
that
the
lineup.
line right there. Rizzo, Torres, LeMahieu, Bader. Elias Diaz is Ezekiel Tovar. Is that his first name? Ezekiel Tovar. Jerkson Profar, Reynold Grichuk, and then our starting pitchers here: Clayton Kershaw, Merrill Kelly to close it out for this 12:35 slate. I'm on the playbooks. If you're listening to this now, check it out. Playbook should be already live. Well, I guess that's not true. Depending on when you're listening to it, it's gonna be out early in the morning because we have a 12:35 roster lock. So be on the lookout for that here. If you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, you see the scroll down at the bottom if you're watching. If you're tuning in and just listening, fantasyalarm.com/all-pro. Promo code MLB50 saves you 50% off the first 6 months. That's $19.98 a month for the first 6 months. And now we have a 7-day free trial included. So you sign up, get the 7-day free trial. You'll love it. You'll stay with us. You'll get in our premium Discord. You can talk to James and I right up the roster lock. You can put all your winnings in our trophy case Discord channel. You can do whatever you want in there. And you get access to everything, not just baseball content, NBA, NHL, NFL, NASCAR, PGA, MMA, everything that we cover here on site. Part of the All-Pro package here. That first 6 months take you through the start of the NFL season as well. And make sure you download the Better Sports Network app free on iTunes and Google Play. Happy to be part of the Better Sports Network family here as well. James, we have a weird Thursday slate. You and I will be covering next, and then we got a big Friday slate to end the week. But I'll be away because I'm getting married on Saturday. So for everybody, this may or may not be the last time I talk to you as an unmarried man. If it isn't, I'll talk to you then. Good luck. We'll talk to you all later.